And hello, everybody, and welcome to a Supernatural Townhall Session. I'm Matt Emch of Planet 412, and I will let you guys say hello.
I am Rye of Codex of Curiosities.
I am JC of Curious Cabbages Codex. No, no, I'm JC from formerly known as Sasquatchers, but we're kind of doing a rebranding with the Watchers here. But hey, how's everybody doing? The Watchers.
We're doing good. It's good to see you, and hello to everybody in the chat. We see you guys there. We want to tell everybody thank you for coming tonight, and hopefully we can give you guys a good show.
And JC, the Watchers, I like that. I like that. And it's not that Sasquatchers was bad, but I think it kind of pigeonholed you, even though you guys were just branched out beyond that. So, yes.
Yeah, we barely even talk about Sasquatch. So
that's the truth. I don't know. How about you, Matt? Like, out of all my episodes, I think maybe I have like 4 episodes, and that includes the Lost Frequency as well, of Sasquatch.
Yeah, you know what? I have my my Beaver Creek State Park. I have a narration that touches on Sasquatch. I had Ernie Davio on, who is of course is Sasquatch. But aside from that, no, I'm not overly inundated with Sasquatch either.
And it's not that I'm like, and I'm sure you guys are the same way. It's not like we're like, we don't want Sasquatch. It's just there's so much more that comes forward.
Thank you. Yes, I agree. So much more to talk about out there.
What do you think is your, I don't want to say strong, but what is your most, I don't know. Help me out, guys. Like for me, the most common or the most the most episodes I have are of either like, and especially lately, if we're talking for Codex, are alien abductions, and it seems to be like I'm just getting inundated with them. Not that it's bad, but yeah,
it might be bad that so many people are getting abducted, right? Like that could be a bad thing.
Yeah.
You know, we've talked about so much stuff on our episodes, and that like I don't even know. Like for a long time, our most popular episode was about demonology with a Catholic priest, right?
Cool.
Yeah, and we're just, now we're pulling away a little bit. We've done stuff on every other cryptid. I know for me, like my specialty is like cryptids, right? Like you give me cryptids, I'll go on for days. Not counting Bigfoot. Do we count Bigfoot as a cryptid? I think so, right? Like that's
Bigfoot
a cryptid.
Is a cryptid. Yes.
I'm not a super expert on Bigfoot, but give me like just unknown random cryptids, and I'll
the Ogopogo.
It's in my backyard.
The Ogopogo terrified me.
It's different stuff too. I try very hard, and I said this from episode 1 that here on my show that we would be touching one end of the spectrum and the other. I don't shy away from anything. Everything from USOs to Dogman obviously is a really hot topic these days. Of course, I focus more on that. But I'm talking on a lot of other things as well. And, I have a lot of other cryptids that I'm going to be talking about in the upcoming months. I really want to focus on other ones that don't really get light.
Bearzilla. You said USO, that's one thing I haven't ever covered at all. Very interesting, but USO. And for those who in the chat who haven't seen our thumbnails or read the title of this one, just an FYI, we're doing shadow beings, shadow people. Ooh, very scary.
Yeah, definitely. And we got a lot of people that have been responding to our polls that we've been putting up every week. I mean, a lot of people been very happy about that. And last week was closer with everything that we had. But shadow entities pulled it out, and that's what we're going to be talking about. I know I've had two things with shadow people that touch my family. One is, and I've spoke about it, I think, with both of you before, about my great great aunt and grandfather in Lebanon. For those of you that haven't heard it, if you guys don't mind me telling about this
We're
experience.
starting. You go.
All right. So, one of the big things that I have really been looking into and been a big purveyor of speaking about is, there's a huge belief and sect about certain families. It's in their DNA, so to speak. It like runs through families, and it just really has been, as I've looked into it, there really is usually one side of a family, if you have someone in it that has supernatural happenings in their lives, that there's usually things going on somewhere in that tree. And on my side, of the Lebanese side, being half Lebanese, half German Irish, uh, as far back as I have ever been told, things having, like more spectral ghosts, orbs, noises, things like that. This one is the number one oldest one in my family. So my great great grandfather and my great great aunt, when they were still living in Lebanon, they lived in a small house. Of course, my great great grandmother and my other great great aunt, or my however it goes, the multiple people lived in this house, but this day it was only my great great grandfather, great great aunt. My great great aunt was playing with dolls in her living room or something, I believe. And her dad was outside tending to something. They lived next to a stream in Lebanon, so they had running water right next to the house. We all know that. JC, I see what you put in there. Um, anyway, PJ Jean, you're still here, sweetheart. So, we talk a lot about, and there's a lot of thought of how water is, a huge part of supernatural and paranormal events. That helps feed the energy. It helps things to come alive and or come into that space, or come in from a dimension or portal. So what was occurring was, when my aunt was playing with her dolls, she said, she kept noticing out of the corner of her eye that it looked like a shadow, like a person was walking into the room. And she said that two different times she looked and nothing was there. She looked back and she just started playing with her toys. Well, the third time, she said she saw very clearly a person. She thought it was her father, I assume. Looked, and there was a shadow being walking towards her in that old school, like, I'm going to get you kind of stance, with green fluorescent glowing eyes. And he starts immediately screaming. Their doors did not lock on this home. It was old school, there wasn't crime, around that area or anything in Lebanon at that time at all. And the doors, they said, when they would close them, they'd find them often open. And they said that was strange because they'd latch, they just didn't lock. Well, when he tried to get in the door, it was completely locked, and heard his daughter screaming. He started beating on the door with a cinder block. Finally, got the door split down, like with one eye. And he told her this, and then she obviously told us, that when he was looking through the door, that it stopped and it turned around and smiled at him. And then it turned back around and started to, I'm going to get you kind of stance. And she said, I was screaming for my life. And he kicked the door open finally after a bunch of shots on I think he said the bottom right part of it. And when he got just within grabbing distance of this being, it just dissipated. It didn't turn around. It had its back to him, and literally putting his hand on it, it just poof, like black smoke. She said it just, and it just disappeared. And the worst part of it is 3 days later, he passed away from gangrene. What happened when he kicked the door in? The door on the bottom portions were moist and wet from the environment they were in, and it was all rotted like wood. And when he finally kicked the door in, a big piece of wood that was rotted went into his bottom portion of his leg and the like front area of his lower leg, and he got gangrene and died 3 days later. So shadow person, that is the oldest story I know of in my family. And then the second one, obviously, wasn't exactly a shadow being, the dog man that we all saw when we had our experience when I was 14 when of leaving the building, if anybody remembers that part. It turned into basically a shadow, large shadow being, and then kind of just into an amorphous kind of big black mass of a shadow and just gone. So those are my two personal experiences. Obviously, the first one I wasn't there, but was told to us.
Do you think that possibly the first one could have been a jinn or something along that line?
Thank you for bringing that up because she kept saying something in Lebanese to us, and me and my younger brother were like kept looking at my mom like, "Mom, what is she saying?"
Mm-hmm.
We figured out later after talking to some of our other cousins who were also from over there, they got her to say, they said "yin." She say "yin," so they did call it a "yin." Yeah, so that's
Wow.
what.
So she said gin, not gin. Like she didn't want to drink some gin there. She just saying
Correct, correct. Yeah, but with the
terrible joke.
Lebanese
Terrible joke.
accent,
I'm sorry.
with the Lebanese accent, and if it was Lebanese, they'd be drinking Ada. Ada
Oh,
is a very strong. It's like
I want a nada.
black licorice
Terrible.
flavored
Oh,
liquor.
like Zambuca kind of thing.
Yes, yeah, we drink it at our weddings. In fact, real quick, going off subject, when me and Stacy got married, she's in the chat. Um, we did shots of the Ada, and it is very pungent and strong. And I have on the recording of Stacy taking a shot and doing it, and the face she made was just priceless. Just it's great. So she
Awesome.
did not enjoy that. Those were definitely two experiences
That is
on that
interesting. Yeah.
side. Yeah.
I wonder how often, and I'm not saying confused, but I wonder how often maybe confused or just kind of misclassified that a shadow being is thought, is a jinn or a jinn is a shadow being, and
Right.
yeah, and like, hey, we're kind of doing this in general, which means like we're doing it all, but I wonder how often that has happened, which I think is interesting. What do you think there, JC?
Can it be both? Can
Mm.
a shadow? I mean, like a shadow person, shadow being could encompass a lot of different events, right? Like
Mhm.
we've recently talked about like the Hatman,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
then that's in line with the shadow being, right? And you even hear going back to like we were joking before about Sasquatchers and not talking about Bigfoot, but there's Bigfoot encounters that have ended in the shadow disappearance. The Bigfoot disappears, and then there's the shadow that's left over. Then we have like the shadow people that inhabit nightmares and things like that. So I mean,
Are you kind of meaning maybe like sleep paralysis kind of thing as well?
well,
That
sleep
kind of
paralysis. I know a big one is, and I was looking up like recent
mm-hmm.
people reporting shadow beings, and a lot of it was people having the same experiences in their dreams or waking up and seeing something, the shadow being at the end of their bed, was a really big one. And I think one of the most interesting things, and I talked about this many episodes of Supernatural Townhall Sessions before, but I brought up about the occurrence of people in the same vicinity, in the same towns, experiencing the same nightmares, same dreams around the same time. And it seems like that's what I keep finding, when I'm looking at recent like shadow being encounters.
Yeah.
is people in areas, and I'm not talking about like a 2 mile, radius. Maybe this is a city or, a county or whatever, but people, I keep finding people reporting these same instances. Like there was one that I found, it was a town outside of Lubbock, Texas, where multiple people and children had reporting having a nightmare of a shadow man standing at the end of their beds. And this was all reported over the course of a month.
Okay.
That people had these experiences. And then, if we want to go, we can deep dive here. Speaking of cryptids, we can deep dive even further to, shadow people have always been a part of like cryptid lore and stuff like that. The one that really speaks to me, or at least in the back of my head, is the Noken, which is in Scandinavian folklore. It's actually a water spirit, kind of, but it's more like a shadow. So the Noken can actually replicate your appearance in water. So it has to be in water. It's not something that can come out of water normally. But what happens is people were drawn to water by what they thought were their wives or their children needing help. And they had seen shadows and they had heard voices. So they would go to the water and then they would be drowned or would disappear, going after this entity.
That kind of reminds me of, I don't know if anybody's seen like Love, Robots, and I forget what it's a
Netflix.
Love, Sex, and Robots.
Yeah, there's one episode where there is some sort of being that's in the water, and she brings people in and they drown, or they hear her voice or something like that, and the one guy who's deaf is not subjected to it, but that's interesting.
Mm-hmm. Well, then we kind of blur the line. Then is that it's like sirens and stuff like that. But
true.
These creatures that cryptids that I'm specifically talking about, the Noken, are shadows. Mm-hmm. They come out of the water and they have a corporeal presence, but they're dark. They're black. It's not like there's like a mer woman coming out of the water. This is like a shadowy figure that lives in the swamp. So, like my great grandma.
Fair enough. Interesting. Yeah. I like that.
Well, my great grandmother, I made a reference there too.
There you go. This is, guys, I'll just throw my phone up.
Yeah, the Noken, that's it. Yeah.
Right there.
Now, okay. Cool. Okay, so I will go into, if you guys don't mind, I can jump into my, of course, the one I always talk about, but I'm going to leave that one to last. I have another one that I did see as well, shadow figure. So I'm just going to fix my lighting here 1 second. There we go. Okay. So the one that I saw two. The first one is the most crazy one, but I'm going to go to the second one, which was here in Mexico. And it was, and I actually have written down the date because I do that because my memory is not as good as it should be. March 8th, 2014. I saw what looked like a tall person, approximately 7 foot to 8 foot, female, in a black cloak, a large round hat, which covered in a black veil at her neighbor's house. So it was all like a black figure. Now, if you don't mind, I'm just going to present my screen here so everybody can see what I am talking about. And what it really looked like was a Catrina. Okay, so let me know when you're sharing.
Oh, sorry, Rye. I was talking.
No problem. So this is what I was kind of seeing. I didn't see a skull face or anything like that, but I saw this big, huge, large hat. It might have been even bigger than this, but it was a black figure kind of dressed like this. And then like a veil kind of came down. And of course, it wasn't skeletons. I couldn't see. And this was at nighttime, and it was standing in our neighbor's garage area. The house was under construction, and there was this immensely tall shadow figure that resembled this. It was in our neighbor's garage, just standing there. What's that there? Sorry, Matt.
That's horrifying.
I couldn't see skeleton or anything like that, like it had this veil, so you're not gonna, it's a black veil, like like a mourning, like when you're mourning, like at a funeral or something like that. That's what it was. So it was a big hat. It was bigger than this, and then the veil came down around that. And this is what, and I wasn't horrified or anything, actually, to be honest. I was just like, okay, that's interesting, and of course I know it's not a person standing there or anything like that. But yeah, that's what I saw at this one occasion. That was in central Mexico, in state of Querétaro. And
wow.
yeah, so that was my first, hang on, I'm going to stop that. So that was my first shadow person experience. Now, JC, have you had any no,
I don't
You're
have
not in the club.
experiences.
You're not in the club. No.
I'm not in the club. No, I never get to experience everything. Everybody else gets to experience it for me, and I have to live vicariously through that. So maybe I am the shadow person living vicariously through everybody. I basically just do research and then maybe I'm just so like horse blinded by myself that I don't realize entities and the things happening. I think we've all had nightmares with like a shadow being in it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like that's one thing, and maybe that counts as an experience. I don't know, but I've not witnessed anything in person. I do have a firsthand sighting, though. If you'd like, if I could read it
for
very
sure,
quickly.
please do that.
So this comes this from an anonymous source, so no name. It's a couple paragraphs. I'll read as quickly as I can.
No, take your time. Take your time.
But the story goes, so this is speaking in the first person from this individual.
Mm-hmm.
I was probably 5 or 6 years old when I first saw them. If you're unaware of what a shadow people are, first off, you're lucky. But to explain, they're tall, skinny, featureless black shadows that wear no clothes, have no hair, nothing at all. I grew up in the town of Oceanside, California, and lived there most of my life. It's believed that shadow people linger in one place and will not follow you. I would see them here often. They weren't just in my house, but on the streets. The most common encounter I had with the man at the end of the bed. I slept at the top bunk bed, and my sister and I shared, and I would often turn my head and see him. He was fairly tall, almost reaching my bunk, around 6 feet. Shadow people do not speak, but they do look. When they see you, they're gone. If they notice you see them, they're gone. I like to believe they're shy. They're not harmful creatures, I don't think. And nothing strange ever happened aside from their presence being there. They never tampered with animals, humans, or objects. In fact, animals didn't see them. Not everyone does, most of the time. The man at the end of the bed just looked around in very swift movements, but it still felt like they moved in pictures. Almost every time I saw him, he would vanish immediately. There was one time, though, where my eyes met where he would be. That was about when I was 9 or 10 years old. I was driving the street one day when I saw another. This was more recent and more clear of a shadow person than I had ever seen. A woman, I think, in a brown coat was walking, and suddenly she saw a shadow person. It followed her steps before vanishing. I only saw the woman turn the corner the other direction before we drove off. That was the only time I recall having seen one move, walk, or run. I've seen one probably 50 more times, same position, along my bed. I'm now an adult with different experiences, but I still keep seeing this entity when I wake up. I moved into a rental in Idaho about 11 and a half years ago, lived in a house in Washington since then. I haven't seen one since. Has anybody else seen them? I can't be alone.
Oh, that is definitely horrifying. Nothing really, can get that much worse when you're sitting in a dark room and then all of a sudden you start noticing things out of the corner of your eye, and then some people see an actual being, or you're in bed and you wake up to Hatman or somebody, a phantom. That is horrifying. I wanted to real quick, if you guys don't mind, Greg Salmi, does anybody know of any protections from shadow people? Actually, I have something. Negative entities and shadow people all thrive on negative energy. Archangel Gabriel revealed in the world of spirit likes, attract positive the positive, negative the negative. Such being the case, the best way in counteracting negative forces is to be very, very positive. Why? Because negative entities and shadow people, as you call them, benefit nothing from anything positive, for it is anathema to their low vibration. We always talk about vibrations and frequencies. Like a magnet, these entities are attached to anything negative due to their similarity and their low vibratory frequency. Develop and cultivate higher human emotions such as love, preferably unconditional love, compassion, clemency, mercy, tolerance, patience, forgiveness, etc. For these emotions create and produce positive energy that turns off all things. So that was just, some basic ones that apparently the Archangel Gabriel said helped fight that.
And I agree with PJ Gene. P Gene, it's no fear. They're fear eaters. That's exactly what they are. And they keep they the more fear you have, the more they're going to feed on it, the more they're going to manifest themselves. And I'll jump into my experience.
Real quick, you know what PG does fear? The band hammer.
To be banned. Yay. Hey, Fast Hemi. All right. So
that's okay.
Now this is so I'm going to preface this with saying that prior to this incident happening, we did use a Ouija board, and my thoughts on that is that it we were kids. You go to Toys R Us, you buy a Ouija board. Of course, that's what everyone does. And so I believe I believe there was something already there, but I just believe it kind of empowered it even more, strengthened it even more. So I had, and I always talk about when I came home in the Northern Lights row. I don't know. It just seems to, that's a memory that's how it's like filed into my brain. Was I was out with my friends that night. I was about 17, anywhere between 17 to 18 years old. And I wasn't drinking or partying or anything. I think we're playing video games, if anything. Someone rented a video, like a PlayStation console. Yeah, because we didn't own one. We just rented them. I come home, my friends had dropped me off, and I remember looking up at the sky, watching the Northern Lights as they're dancing through the night sky, and I was like, that's pretty cool. And it was about 10 minutes worth of watching them. But I had to work early in the morning, so I went up, got ready for bed, and I did get home late, so I wasn't going to get my full beauty sleep of 8 hours minimum. But at that point, I was, that's fine. It's fine. I look at the clock and I'm like, oh, I got like 7 hours and 38 minutes of sleep. And when you do that, you're like, okay, if I fall asleep now, I'm going to have this much. I'm going to have this much sleep or this much sleep. So I was doing that. And I always find when you do that, you just don't fall asleep. And I could not fall asleep that night. I just toss and turn. And it's like, okay, maybe 6 hours. I'm going to have 6 hours of sleep. And I don't remember where I ended up, where it's, or what time it was in the morning. Could have been closer to 1 a.m. when this happened. Then something in me just said to look up. And so I kind of was on my side. So I rolled onto my back and I looked up, and floating above me, about 3 feet above me, was this shadow figure. Now, clearly I could see the head, the shoulders, so you could see the head, you could see where it kind of tapered in a little bit for the neck. I could see the shoulders. When it got to around the waist area, and so I could see the arms too, but when the arms were draped by the side, even though it was vertically above me or horizontally above me, when it got to around the waist, it all tapered off. But this is strange. It wasn't a black smoke. It was like a whitish smoke, but the rest of the body was blacker than black. So, I'm sleeping in my bedroom. It's dark, but I can see this because it is blacker than black. So that is what I saw. Now, one thing that was kind of crazy with that was its eyes now. And its eyes, like the whole cornea and pupil, were glowing red. And Matt had talked about this with his dog man. It wasn't like flashlights, like they're like flashlights, but they're like an incandescent glowing red. They were some sort of light source, but again, they weren't like flashlights. And I remember laying there. I laid there for about it felt like an eternity, but it could have been 3 to 5 seconds, and this faded away and disappeared into nothing. And then I don't know how long I stayed there, because of course, when you're in one of those situations with the adrenaline pumping and something is terrifying, you have like the 3 F's. You have either fight, flight, or freeze. And of course, I froze and I did not move. And I laid there now for, I don't know how long. The next thing I know is I woke up in the morning, and, you know, I'm not telling my parents what I saw or what it was, because did it really happen? You know, you start questioning that experience. That, you know, like I was wide awake. I did happen, but did it happen? You know, well, maybe it was this, maybe it was that, maybe I didn't see that, maybe it was something else. I don't know. So that was my experience with my shadow being.
You're like cursed. I don't want to talk to you anymore. Right?
I mean, that is honestly horrifying. Again, just to be repetitive. I mean, being woken up out of a sound sleep, or just opening your eyes, like laying on your side, and you notice, is that really what I see? And then all of a sudden, my God, a form floating above me, or in the corner of the room, or, you know, again, if it's the Hatman with the hat on, and we've heard the red eyes, and I don't care. I just think, you know, any type of being like that stands out in a dark room that's darker than that is just something
wild,
out of a nightmare. Yeah.
And you know, maybe this actually maybe triggered a memory that I had. So I'm not just totally making this up off the top of my head, just so everybody knows. I'm going to relate it to a life story.
He wants to be part of the club. He's like,
I want to be part of the club. I need a story.
You're going to have an experience. Mark my words.
No. So this, I don't know if this is shadow entity related, but it might be close. Okay. So a couple of years ago, I had a dog, and he had cancer, and he was dying. He was being treated, but like, you know, that's the way it goes. His name was Luke. So I had come, we were going through treatment and stuff, and I had him back in Pennsylvania with my mom. At one time, she was taking care of him for the weekend, and I was back here at home in Ohio, and I was asleep, and I had this dream that there was a dog barking, right? So I get up to go see what this is. And as I wake up out of the stream in my person, I come out of my, which I know you can't see it, but my bedroom door is like down the hallway right through here. I come out in the kitchen, and I see something move down to the basement. And whilst down in the basement, I heard like a almost like a dog barking, but it was more like a wailing, like if you'd been hurting, like if somebody was hurting a dog, right? And we eventually went on to call this the Demon Luke. So it actually became Demon Luke. We called it Demon Luke because like I kept having this reoccurring dream that there was something in my basement that sounded like my dog crying for help, but it wasn't my dog. And it's become a known thing. And I know this doesn't mean anything. You can ask my sister and my brother-in-law, but they know it too. And we still talk about it to this day. We call it Demon Luke, to where it was like this presence that existed in my basement. I've been down in my basement since then.
Like I'm never going down there. It's flooding. You're like, no,
it's just full of water. It's just gone. My basement's gone. But your story triggered my memory of that a little bit. I'm not saying that's anything to do with shadow beings or anything like that. It just
so that actually triggered me as well. For not
we're all triggered.
Trigger. Yeah, it's leading me into the one story that I just released a couple weeks ago, Nightmare, the Michigan Nightmare, I think is what I called it, or Nightmare in Michigan, where you said his dog was like crying and yelping. Well, he was chasing after the sound. Like there was a mimicking sound of the dog's bell on his collar. Like he had like a bell or something on his collar, and he was chasing after this. And that's when he got knocked unconscious in the middle of a empty field, which was really crazy. Now, that's not the shadow person. But later on, when he was working at he worked at a hotel and he worked the night shift. He was an auditor, and something entered the hotel. Like the doors open, nothing came in, but this gust of wind went by him, like someone like walked by really closely and really fast, went into the elevator doors opened, elevator went up to third floor, and then the doors opened, but nothing, you couldn't see anything until, I think it was like an hour or so later. That's when he saw this shadow figure standing just partially in screen of the CCTV camera. And this he has like a collection of the craziest events I've ever heard in my life. And this cloaked shadow figure is part of it all. And to this day, he is suffering really bad PTSD from this all. And I'll skip to for those who have seen or haven't seen that episode, this happened twice where he went, he saw the shadow figure and it was just standing there. So he went there and he checked and the shadow figure wasn't there, but instead on the ground was a pool of like black, stanky water. He said it smelled like death. So he cleaned it up and then he went back, and about an hour or so later, the shadow figure's there again in just partially on screen. And he's like, what the heck? So he went back again. Same thing. No shadow figure, but a pool of black death water. And so he ended up
ectoplasm.
I don't know. So Abe, from like Spiritual Cryptid Encounters, I don't know if Abe Sias, I kind of put this out there. I was like, does anybody have any idea? And he says that sometimes incubus and succubuses come from like, or leave like black water. So I was like, okay, that's interesting because it kind of ties in with this whole story. But the craziest part, that's not the crazy part. The craziest part was when he went back, he went home for the night and he got a call from his manager saying, hey, you never did your actual audit. And he's like, well, yeah. And he said, I did. Like, he has to fill out this form and, fill out this whole paperwork. And he's like, yeah, I did. So he went there and they actually checked the cameras. And this is where it gets like crazy. So because he's like, oh no, there was like this weird thing that happened. He explained it all. So they go back, check the CCTV cameras, and it was him standing there motionless for like 3 hours in that camera.
What?
On that spot. Yeah.
That's something like out of what was that one movie? Paranormal.
Yeah.
The wife.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Oh man, that is so.
Wait, who is this?
So this is the episode called Nightmare in Michigan. It's like my top 3. It's my top 3rd episode. It's rising the ranks pretty fast. Now that doesn't end there. So when I can see, is it me or is my camera a little laggy? Is my camera seem a little laggy? Right. Okay. So he ended up, because everybody's like, you're the weird guy. He got dubbed the weird guy at work, and things kind of went downhill from there. And he ended up kind of quitting / being let go because of all this. So what happened then is he's like, screw this, I'm going home. Where he lived, I believe he lived in Florida, and he's like, I'm driving home. So as he was leaving, he hits a rest stop in Michigan still, and he goes to go in. It's kind of like a pretty basic. It's not like gas station, nothing. It's like a log cabin, and it has like the bathrooms inside, maybe like some tourist pamphlets and stuff like that. So he was going in. As he was going in, this black hooded figure kind of like pushes him out of the way and comes out of this building. Okay. And he never clicked. At that point, he didn't have that click like, hey, was this the same one that I saw earlier? The same thing that I saw earlier? And as he walked in, there was like water all backed up coming from the woman's bathroom. And it was like this, he's like assumed it was like a toilet water backup. So again, we have like this stanky water. And he goes into the bathroom. He's, doing his business. And he sees like this hooded figure come into the bathroom and go into the stall that's like, so he's using the urinals, but he goes into the stall that's right beside his urinal that he's using, which is like, guide code. You don't do that. You always kind of like you make space, you stay away. And so he's like, whatever. And he says this guy started making these weird noises coming from the bathroom. Not those kind of weird noises, but like this is, he says, like, he's like, I really have to make sure everybody knows that it's not that. But he said it was really weird. And he's like, I'm getting out of here. So he goes, he's washing his hands. As he's washing his hands, this, I'm going to say guy, but that's not what I think it is. This thing, this being, this guy calls his name. Okay. Calls his name. And he's like, what? And he says it was like, and this where it might be like an incubus succubus kind of thing, because he says it was so like seductive, not as in like, oh, come here, but it was like a spell. It was like a spell that say, this isn't funny, guys, don't laugh at me. But it was like a spell, like was pulling him and like towards where this guy was in this stall, or this thing was in the stall. And he's like, oh, he splashed water on his face and like broke free. He's like, okay, yeah, I'm leaving. And so he broke free and was just about to turn and walk. And then it kind of like commanded his name. Like it commanded him with his name again. And he says, I couldn't. He says, I turned around, I grabbed the stall door, I start to open it. Boom. He wakes up in his car hours later, covered in his own bile vomit, and he had pissed himself as well. And his car is running with a lot of gas gone.
They've been there for a while.
Yeah. How's that for a shadow figure? Kind of.
That's beyond shadow figure. This is like realms of like, I need like exorcisms.
Yes.
And P. Gene said there's nothing worse than knowing it knows your name. I mean, just the fact that something knows your name and you don't know what it is, and it has the ability to not only know your name, but when it says your name, it forces you to go to it.
Yes.
Totally nightmare fuel right there.
And that's why, like what Abe says, succubus or incubus, it kind of, might actually, I really need to look into that. Like Abe said that, and I was like, okay, that sounds interesting. And I haven't taken it further. And I need to, for his sake, for Andy's sake, I need to help him look into that for a little bit more. Yeah, like as Kelly says, right, probably been abducted. That was another thing I thought as well, Kelly, abduction. Possibly though, it could be. Have you guys heard of what called our screen memories?
No.
Okay, so I know we're kind of getting off topic, but it might be on topic. Screen memories are what aliens who abduct you, they will put screen memories in front of you, so like you forget what happened and you see something else. Sometimes those screen memories can be shadow beings when in fact it was an alien or something like that. So perhaps this might be something along that line where he was abducted. And he saw all this. So I don't know. I definitely want to look in to see if this is anything related to an incubus or succubus. So if anybody has any information on incubuses or succubuses, I don't know if you guys do, but if anybody in our chat does, send me a message on Facebook. Just send me a message, because like I know I can do my own work, but I'm been super busy lately.
Yeah, I don't have exactly the information on that one, but I definitely know I've read a lot about them actually lately. And I wanted to comment real quick. We had the question asked a little while ago. If you guys don't mind me,
no, throw it up for sure.
I think it was P. Gene. It might have been someone else mentioned that the Hatman and Shadow People are different.
Yes.
So if you'd like to know, I'm just going to read the Hatman. Let's see, blah blah blah. Google variations of shadow person, hat, ghost, etc., trying to see if there are other accounts to validate their experience. The Hatman is said to be an evil entity, often placed in a category of paranormal phenomena referred to as shadow people. So they're saying that they're same in one. Shadow people are just about exactly what they sound like: dark, vaporous forms in the shape of humans. that are posited into to be a type of ghost. Some might be dilute manifestations of people who were once living. Others may be something else that we don't understand. But the Hatman is a singular character inside that broader category, reported to a particular character trait, a more solid outline than most shadow people, and an especially notable visual marker, always wearing a hat. That's not to say he doesn't like to change up his style every now and again. Some people report encountering the Hat Man in old-timey clothes, a long trench or cape, and various hats, usually top hat, fedora, or a gaucho hat. Think southwestern cowboy. Some have seen him with red eyes, like I mentioned. Um, and others report featureless, dark face, but he's always tall, 6 feet minimum. And even more often, people say he's about 8 to 10 feet tall, going to the ceiling, forcing him to crouch while standing sometimes because he's so tall.
Now, just one second, Matt. So possibly, possibly it's kind of related to death.
Well, they also say, I'm sorry to interrupt you. I just want to throw this in, and it can actually be touching on what you're saying. They say sometimes he carries a gold pocket watch that he'll occasionally glance at, which is interesting. Maybe he's sticking around too long, or he's looking at time of
checking your time. Yeah.
Right.
When am I coming back? When am I coming back? No. And that kind of, it ties into like the La Catrina that I saw. Like it's also reminiscent, if anybody's seen the movie called Book of Life, which is about like Mexican life after death kind of thing, a little bit. La Muerte, the death, is very similar. The hat style and everything was very similar to what I saw as well. Now, I just want to touch on a little bit about shadow beings and shadow persons. Okay, I believe that they're different. I believe shadow persons or shadow people were ghosts that have gone so negative that they're embodying the shadow being kind of facade, or look to scare the shit out of you. I had to say the least. But true shadow beings were never people. Were never people. Now, I do believe that there is a separation between those two, and I don't claim to be an expert. It's just the research that I have done that ghosts can turn to try to disguise themselves as a shadow being, but they're still ghosts. But shadow beings were never people. They are some sort of dark entity.
Okay.
Yeah.
JC?
So we no, I'm thinking this through. So we have so again, like we said, so there's the entities and there's the people, and then you have ghosts that are the people and then you have the entities that were maybe never a ghost or were anything, they were just the dark. And I kind of posed this question earlier, but how many other like alien abduction encounters and things like that were maybe not actually alien abductions, but they had something to do with these shadow entities, right? Because anything can make it seem like it's anything else.
Can it be the same? Can't these shadow beings be?
It could be the same
as well.
They could be.
Now,
I don't know.
It's funny because I'm actually going to be interviewing someone who has a theory kind of concerning all this on Thursday. That interview will come out middle of June, but it's around that, saying that, and she also talks about sleep paralysis too, that sleep paralysis, you're not actually awake. Okay. You know how everybody thinks they're awake? The theory that she has, and she herself, because she's gone through it so many times, has proven, and to her own anecdotal evidence, that they access your pituitary gland, or pineal gland, and they're able to project your surroundings, your room, and everything to copy it, but you're still in your dream state. And she says what they can't do is it's almost as if they're not allowed to copy everything 100%. So if you look around, there might be maybe a window where there shouldn't be, or a door, there's no door where there should be a door, or something along that line. And it's that they're accessing your pineal gland, which we know is our third eye, and projecting this into our brains. And we're actually thinking we're awake, but we're still actually asleep, which I think is mind blowing. I definitely want to hear this.
So it's the lamp.
Yes.
That damned lamp.
The red lamp, right?
All right. It looks weirder every time I look at it, but I can't figure it out.
Do you know what that one is, Matt? The red lamp?
No.
That is the greatest all time. And I don't know, is it proven true, JC?
I believe it comes from people who were saying that like they were in comas and that they thought they were living their lives out and having the fullest, but then they kept seeing that lamp changing.
Yeah, this is like the greatest glitch in the Matrix story that ever existed, kind of thing. It was. I'll give you the Cole's notes on it. This individual got knocked out. Okay. And he woke up and carried on with his life, ended up getting married, having 2 children, living a fantastic life. But he saw this red lamp on their, let's say, dresser, or over their TV cabinet or something.
It was like it was on like the kitchen. It was in the kitchen. It was on like a table.
Yeah, and he says it looked weird, and he something off about it, and he ended up becoming obsessed with this lamp, to the point that his family kind of left him, his wife left him, and everybody, because he was just so focused onto it. And then finally the lamp kind of, I think it like dissolved or something like that, because it wasn't there. And it turns out that he was knocked unconscious, and while he was unconscious, he lived a whole other life for like 10 years in a matter of minutes. And he woke up. Because he wasn't in a coma. That one wasn't in a coma. It was just like that. But crazy. Like imagine having this life and so real memories of wife and of children.
How devastating! Yeah.
Yes.
I would like to learn more about that. I'm surprised I've never heard about that one before.
Yeah, the one that I heard, and it's a very similar story, was the same thing with the lamp. It's always a lamp, right?
Mm-hmm.
Was the guy was in a car accident. He was in a coma, and he went through this whole thing. He recovered from the car accident. He got married. He had kids. He like got a job promotion. He was like, he was high up there, was making money and having this good life. And then one day he woke up and he glanced over and saw the lamp, and the lamp was not like it had normally been. It was kind of glitchy. It just looked weird to him, right? Not a good texture. Something was wrong. So over the course of like a couple days, every time he woke up, he'd keep focusing on this lamp. Like, what's wrong with this lamp? Why is this lamp here? Who bought this? And he went to his wife. He went to his kids. He said, what is this lamp? And they didn't know what he was. There was like, it's just a lamp. Like, why are you worrying about it? But anyways, long story short, eventually the lamp, he wakes up one day and the lamp is completely blurred. Like, it's all blurred out, that space around the lamp. So he walks over to the lamp. The dude was in a coma for like 6 years.
Jeez.
Lived out this entire other life just to wake up one day and somebody tell him, hey, you were in a car accident. You've been in a coma for a couple years. All because of this lamp.
Now,
what then goes into the mindset of what you had brought up a few minutes ago, guys, was, are we living in a false reality?
Yeah.
That's really wild.
You know what's funny, JC? What color was it? Was it a red lamp as well?
I believe it was a red lamp, but I think the story that I read focused more on like every time he focused on it, it became more and more distorted. Like he knew something was wrong with it.
Yeah, this is the exact same kind of story, but different. Yeah, that's really interesting. And
the red pill almost.
Yeah, and I had talked to someone just recently where they were talking not a red lamp, but a red light. She saw a red light on a wall, and the wall faded away to what looked like
Matt's broadcasting area.
Yes, yeah, exactly. Matt's broadcasting area, exactly. But she said she saw through the wall, and behind the wall were guys. She said it looked like at a control panel and everything, turning dials.
I've heard that. Yes.
I had a
I have
lady
heard that.
just tell me this story, her own personal experience. And they said, "Oh, I think she can see us." And she responded, "Yes, I can see you.
Yeah.
Get the hell out of my house." And that was it. She never saw them again. But it was a red light, kind of ominous with Matt's red light, like you're saying there, JC. Yeah, I like how we deviate from this, and that's okay. You know, we start with the shadow people, but this conversation just goes naturally, and I like that. I like how
Yeah,
it's going like
I do
this. Yeah,
too. There's nothing wrong with it,
yeah.
mutating into other things.
Now
Mutating.
depends.
Yeah. Now here's a question though. Yeah, exactly. We're not talking about supplements now. Now here's a question. Do you feel that they actually live that life? Did they cross over to another dimension, live that life, and then something pulled them back into this life? And this is complete speculation. It's only
I don't think you can answer it outside of complete speculation, right?
of
Maybe,
course.
yes. I mean, the story that I told, the guy was in a coma for a couple years. When he woke up, it actually worked out for him. His family was elated. His wife, his kids, everybody were like, "Oh my God, he's back!" You know, he lived this life without them though for like 2 or 3 years, and now he actually gets to live this life that he came out of this coma. Like that's a positive story, right? That's awesome. So he gets to live the cool story twice, minus the fake lamp. Hopefully, he might get the lamp again. We don't know.
That's interesting.
That's he might get the double whammy on that lamp. It's. I mean, it could be here or there, right?
I heard a story about this one gentleman. He was in a prison, and his roommate would sleep for 12 hours, and everybody would just let him sleep for his 12 hours. And he finally asked him, like, what's going on? Like, why do you sleep these 12 hours? And he told him that he lives a completely separate life in his dream. When he goes to sleep, he wakes up in his other life, and he lives that for 12 hours. And then he comes back and lives this for 12 hours. Like
my prison life.
Well, yeah.
And he has extreme detail when he leaves this and talks about the other one when he's sleeping. It's always he has like, does he have constant, like, he falls asleep and it takes up where it left off? And
100%. Yeah, like when he falls asleep, he wakes up and his life goes on. That I heard that one actually on the confessional. I think it was on the confessionals, and I was just like, yeah, it's yeah, exactly like P. says, you know, so he can skip out of jail. Exactly, you know, one life is in jail, the other life he's free. Like, okay, it actually works. It's like, yeah, very strange, very strange. And think about it, if that was your life, yeah, I don't know, it would be so strange.
You know, I wish I could do things like that, but instead my dreams constitute me uppercutting Big Bird and then falling down flights of steps.
Like Brett said, sorry. So Brett said he kept a journal of that, and his cellmate read it. Okay, I think that was exactly it. Yeah, I it's been a while since I heard it or read it, but you are correct, Brett. Yes. So imagine that. That is just mind blowing. That, you know, that this alternate reality. I totally believe in alternate realities. 100%.
Oh, for sure.
There has to be.
Yeah.
You know, and this kind of circles all the way back to our very first episode, the Mandela effect. You know, with the and are these shadow beings? I don't know. Are ghosts just crossing over from one to another? Are these shadow beings, you know, coming over from these alternate realities, you know, and are we the shadow beings of theirs?
And that's what I was just going to bring up. I had mentioned that, you know, one of our last shows is, you know, I've been saying this to people a lot of late. You have these either, you know, whatever spectral beings, be it a ghost, most of the time it's a shadow being in the corner of your room staring at you, or the Hatman who will literally either be floating above your bed or come up on you and look at you in bed. And it just makes me think that, you know, what if they are in some dimension or a half dimension away from us with that veil we always talk about, and that we are their ghosts, we are their shadow people, and that they're basically like, in their house or wherever, and they're studying us. Like, what is that? What is that right there? Or, I mean, it is possible.
I think some ghosts 100% we are crossovers from different times or different dimensions. Shadow beings and like Hatman though, like I know I was kind of saying that earlier that maybe we are, but I don't think I'm gonna retract that statement. I actually believe that they are invading ours and there's something nefarious with them. They're not good.
That.
What's that there, JC?
I agree with that. I the shadow entities I think are something a bit more evil, nefarious than just like crossover ghosts, right?
Do you feel that it has to do with maybe like disembodied spirits, possibly from like the Nephilim?
I mean, maybe I don't know about from the Nephilim.
Well, because like like their soul. I don't want to say their soul, but maybe their spirit, because I think there's a difference. Their spirit has nowhere to go because they can't ascend. Because they are an abomination, right? Even if they were, maybe if they were good, I don't know, but I think they were, cast out and forced to stay on this plane for all eternity. And so if they don't have a body to inhabit,
trying to latch on to something, right?
Yes, exactly. And that maybe takes us to the gray aliens, which are kind of like an organic AI type of entity, like almost like like an Iron Man suit that you can go into and embody. Maybe these spirits can go into that and embody these gray alien suits. I don't know. I'm going far here. I'm going far, but that's also one of my main topics seems to be going on right now is like Nephilim and aliens and abductions and embodying these grays. Sorry, go ahead, Matt.
Well, I was just going to say, what has really been kind of, enthralling me as of the last, I'd say, I don't know, 5 years, it started to really pick up, is they talk about the Greys, about not being an actual race of beings, that they are more or less worker bees or, created androids, or, they're just copies upon copies upon copies. And they're smart enough to be able to, go through the wormholes or the portals in other dimensions and get their work done or whatnot. Grab people and do whatever test they need to and get them on their way. It just, it makes you really think about the beings that are in charge of or that created those. So if those things have come off to us for so long as these incredibly advanced, intelligent, beyond our means, beings, and if they're just basically a robot or android for something else, it just blows the mind about who is making them.
Yeah,
and it's completely off subject, but
let's do this. Let's keep talking about this. Yeah. I sorry, what it was, I missed a comment here by Head Trip. So Head Trip says the Nephilim get blamed for everything. I am watered down Nephilim. My family are up to 8 feet, superhuman strength, gifts, 6 toes. Now, Head Trip, are you serious with 6 toes and 6 fingers? Because that's interesting. Now there were Nephilim who assisted David, and I forget who. David versus Goliath, when he killed Goliath. There was a group of them that went around and killed other Nephilim. They were. It's. I don't want to say 100%, but they were assisted by other Nephilim as well. And maybe there is redemption. So
there may be.
Yeah, it really is.
But what does redemption look like for Nephilim? Because I don't think that's possible, right?
I don't know.
Not that we're aware of.
Yeah, like unless there is, unless there truly is forgiveness, if you claim and you go that route, maybe there is a chance. Maybe there is.
Well, remember the forgiveness came after the fall of the Nephilim. That was so the Nephilim were pre-forgiveness, so they can suck it.
But the Nephilim came back though. The Nephilim resurged
Wow.
after the Great Flood. So
well, they should be lucky they survived the flood then.
mm-hmm.
I agree.
Yeah, no. So I missed P. Gene. P. Gene was saying, or someone had said, I think it was P. Gene, but someone was saying, are all abductions, and since we're kind of going with that, are all abductions evil? And Numa was saying, you guys think all alien abductions are bad? And this is my comment: if you are being abducted against your will, yes, of course it is bad. If they're abducting children, yes, it is bad. If they tell you straight up, hey, do you want to come back with us to our spaceship and we could do some experiments on you, and you agree to it, then no, that isn't. But if you are being abducted against your will, then yeah, that is bad. Now,
even if it's for the greater good, no matter how many excuses you can make, it's for the greater good. It's this, it's that. If you're being taken against your will, 10 out of 10 times, it's not good.
Now, Numa's comment here. I think aliens are so intelligent they wanted to hurt us, they would have destroyed us. Of course. But they're not about destroying us because we inherit the earth. I think they're trying to copy us, is what there is. They're trying to make hybrids to copy us.
Yeah.
Yes. So it's not. Yeah, it's not about destroying us, because I agree with you. They
want to be us.
Yeah. Why David?
Well, just let any alien know they don't want to be me.
Hey, Joshua, tell me why. Tell me why.
Life. They might have a really shitty life, JC.
They're in for a ride.
Yeah, it's So yeah, if I think the hybrids, and the story of hybrids is also ties in with black-eyed children, that they are said to be hybrids. There are a process of creating the hybrids. So it's really interesting. And just for everyone who's listening, I got a ton of guests coming up who are all talking about this. And I know you guys, Sasquatchers, the Watchers, had her as well, Karen Wilkinson.
Yes.
She's
awesome.
Fantastic. She is a wealth of information.
So nice.
Yeah. So she talks about it, and then like I said, it was like, I don't know, like an attraction. All of a sudden, I started attracting all these alien abductions people, and there was one person who, his abduction was not the best, but it had some good things to it, and now he's actually actively pursuing to contact the aliens again himself. Okay. So, yeah,
it's a theory I've never posed in my mind, is that the aliens want us. They want to be like us. They want to have souls. They want to. I've never thought of this before. Now my mind is just exploding with all these different theories.
I want to be like you. Yes, isn't that?
It makes sense though, right?
Yeah, it does. Sorry, go ahead. Yeah, I read that question, and I don't know. I said I don't know, Josh. Hey, brother, do you know why David picked up 5 stones before he faced Goliath? I don't. Was that for one of each of the? Because Goliath had 4 brothers who were giants as well. He intended to kill Goliath and his 4 brothers because he only needed 1 stone for Goliath. Yep. I kind of thought that, but I didn't want to. I wasn't 100% sure. So thank you for bringing that to my attention and confirming that.
And P. Gene, yes, the Senocephaly are, I don't know if they are specifically a type of Nephilim, but there is a lot of talk that, there's rumor that maybe St. Christopher was a dog-headed man. And there's also pictures of another human form of St. Christopher. But the fact that there's so much talked about that St. Christopher quite possibly could have been one of these dog-headed men, Senocephaly, from the island of these dog-headed men, and the things that St. Christopher accomplished it, it really blows your mind and gets you on that subject of, that could be, all the way back to what was starting to bring dogmen and that, or go even further back, maybe Anubis and cyclically.
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
So we're
Yeah,
all over. Right.
And that's great. Let's just go with it.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
Yeah. Now, let's see. So Joshua, you got some great information. His mighty men actually saved David's life because he and his mighty men, that's it, mighty men. That I thought it was that. I was going to say men of renown, but it's not. Mighty men went after Goliath's brother and killed them all at a later time. Yeah, that I knew. And I know that within the mighty men, there was at least one or two other possible Nephilim that joined them, or giants that joined them in this. So really interesting. Someone was saying, yeah, the Greys are bots. I agree. They're like an organic type of, yep, or an android, more or less. That, it's kind of like a shell. That's the word I was looking for. A shell. They are a shell that can be inhabited, whether it be by a spirit or by a remote, kind of like a drone. Well, they're drones, so you can like control the drone. We fly airplane drones and everything like that. Well, they are far more advanced. And Lee was saying they live underwater, and I think that's becoming more and more apparent that I think they definitely are some underwater bases, whatnot. Underneath, there is something underneath California. California there's something very strange. Here's something to talk about, actually, something kind of crazy. Oh, Matt, are you frozen? Uh-oh. Matt's frozen.
I'm
back. There you are. There you are. Yes. So
you guys froze.
No, we
no,
because
I was like, maybe I did, but then JC was talking as well, so I was like, okay, no.
That's okay. I got new equipment coming.
Here's something kind of crazy. Is I know, like, I'm going all over, but the big one, the big earthquake, the San Andreas Fault, that was like supposed to happen, and California was supposed to fall off. I think something stopped it from happening. I think like, you haven't heard any big earthquakes from the San Andreas Fault for how long? I don't know. What do you guys think?
I mean, you go back to, we could be talking about Tesla, and he created his little earthquake machine, and he went and tested on a construction site where they had steel girders, basically a skeleton of a building that was being built, and he put it on the one girder, and it started out just tap, tap, tap. Pretty soon, they had the building was shaking. They had a literal earthquake going on, and just as police and everybody, and it was just in one spot. Police came, he took it off the beam, stuck it in his pocket, and just walked away. Now, if we can control the weather, and we can control, he can make an earthquake with that little device back then. I truly believe that they have abilities to do something with possibly either starting and or stopping,
like mitigating.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I heard a conspiracy rumor that Mount St. Helens blowing was the actual release of all the energy that was being stored up for the San Andreas Fault. I don't know if it actually lines up with it, but that was kind of like that was done almost purposely to release this. Is it latent or kinetic energy?
Kinetic, yeah.
Well, I mean, that almost makes perfect sense if it really came true. I mean, my God, that would really make sense. And then you get into, when I keep the cryptid paranormal things going here, you mentioned Mount St. Helens. You have the famous stories of the firemen and some military that were taken to go around to find dead and still living Sasquatch. A big injured Sasquatch male was put into the back of a military transport truck. Firemen and some paramedics and some military drove around, the Sasquatch got out, would go up to caves or areas and, do his scream or whatever they're doing, like the Sierra sounds. And if they heard nothing, he would go check, and if they heard something, he would come back, usually with either an alive or an injured one. It happened multiple times, and I remember reading about the one fireman who had been with them, talking about after they had found a couple and one actually died in the Sasquatch's arms, and after they had helped a few, the Sasquatch looked at the group of men when they were leaving, and they said he basically gave them like a head nod, like, I don't know. That's a pretty famous.
Like, I haven't heard that specifically, but I heard that they pulled multiple Sasquatches out, like dead Sasquatches out. I did hear that.
You can find that for sure. I've actually even seen, I forget what show it was. They did. It might have been the one with Shatner, and they had a pretty detailed show. It was either his or another one, and they went in and they talked in detail about, these people going and riding, supposedly. I'm not saying it happened for sure. I'm just saying, and it is on the internet as well, but I watched a newer video about it recently.
Okay. Crazy. That is crazy.
Crazy. I was crazy once.
Yes.
They put me in a rubber room. How did it sell?
Have you ever been put into one?
No.
Okay. Me neither.
I've yet to even be arrested. Bring it.
Bring it. I was actually escorted out of
Canada.
Out of an apartment. I had played rugby because I used to play rugby. I played rugby. I had 2 games in one day, and I was like beat. But we went out drinking that night, and I was walking home with some friends, and the one girl, I walked her to her apartment. Like, there was nothing there. Like, I wasn't like I was just being the drunk gentleman. And I walked her into her building, and then she went upstairs, and I'm like, I'm just going to sit down here and just take a rest. And then I fell asleep and passed out, and someone called the cops on me. And so the cops showed up, and they're like, "What are you doing here?" And I'm like, like I was just walking a girl home.
What does it look like I'm doing?
And then I fell asleep, and they're like, and they were definitely playing good cop, bad cop. The young cop was being an a-hole. The older cop was being nice. They're like, "Can we see your ID?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure, here." I played rugby all day. I'm just really, really tired. And the old cop's like, "You need a ride home?" And I'm like, "Yeah." So like, "Okay, get in the back of the car. We'll take you home." So
it turned out it was a UFO.
So they're driving me home, but it was my rugby coach that I was kind of with earlier, and he had gone to eat with, like, he just kind of left me and went to eat with the other girl, and then he saw me like being taken away by the cop car. I was in the back of the cop car, and then next rugby practice, I was like, "Oh, I heard you got arrested." I'm like, "No, the cops just drove me home because I'm a good guy."
Hey guys, I don't mean to jump. I have to go to another interview that we have here on our channel, so I just wanted to say, Rye, Matt, I love the both of you. I love everybody here in the chat. P-Gene, still gonna block you when I get the chance.
Come on over to Sasquatchers, P-Gene, and then you'll be blocked. Yeah, you got to be blocked.
You're definitely getting blocked on Sasquatchers. Yeah, sorry I have to jump. I will talk to you guys as soon as I can. Thank you so much for having me on. It was a great discussion. We'll do it again.
Absolutely, man. Have a good night.
Thank you. See you guys
later, bro.
All right, hey Matt. So it's just us now. We can keep this going a little bit more.
And Brett had actually spoke up and said he had actually heard that story I had mentioned as well.
Oh, the Bigfoot ones. Yes.
Sasquatch, and there's actually videos on it, but I'm not doing that right now because I got demonetized off of that one video, so I have to be careful about what it's just.
I wonder if you hold your phone up and show it on your phone, if that's possible. But I wouldn't want to test it because So what Matt means, if everybody who's watching, we got demonetized, was was it the last episode or the episode before that? It was the episode before that. Yeah, it was the Antarctica one. We had put like an interview. Like I went and found the interview. Matt's like, or JC showed this one, and so I put it up. By having that, it's copyrighted material. So if you put that on your channel and you're kind of like having it as your own, yeah, they're like, nope, this not their channel, but this video is no longer monetized. But you can blank it out. And so Matt blanked it out. I also shared that to my account as well, and I ended up just cutting it out as well. So it'll be.
Yeah, it was real simple. But I did get it when I went to go. So after every live stream's over, I go back and I hit the monetization of the video, and it would not let me. It was saying that you had some copyright infringement going on. It's not against your channel. It's against the video, like you said. And it was really cool. You could either fight it, or you could press a button and it would go do it all itself. Fine. It was like 5 minutes and 43 seconds. It went and it cut it and jetted out. And the next thing I find out, it's over and I could monetize. So that's why we're just being careful about like showing videos. I don't know if you could use.
What's crazy though is, so remember I was saying, we should have songs on from people who play their own songs, their own music. It's the same thing. Even if people give you like, so I've had previous guests who are, artists. They have their own music and they're like, please put our music on. But like, I'm not monetized yet, but it tells me that it's a copyrighted issue. And what happens is that video, it allows it still says yes, but it will never be monetized for that reason, which is crazy because, they're giving me permission. Yeah, please use it. Please do this. But I can't because I'm getting much closer to being monetized and I don't want those issues. So it kind of sucks. I want to promote their music. I so want to do it, but now I'm like, well, I can't because YouTube, maybe Rumble can do that, but I still haven't set up Rumble yet. But okay, let's get back into this. I know we were talking about, so let's ask the chat, do we want to keep talking about aliens, Nephilim, the tie with all that, or shadow people? This conversation is kind of fluidly going. Let's see what
I mean, let's be honest. We could go and keep talking about shadow people all night, but we've had a lot of good shows where it just flows and ebbs and changes, and I like it too. So guys, if there's something that you'd like us to talk about, in fact, I believe it was Lee Crisp. I think it was Lee Crisp or somebody that had that color of the button.
What did they say?
Had mentioned about what was our opinion about the Miami Mall incident. That's something.
Oh, that was a way back. No, I thought it was it was the Las Vegas UFO. I saw the Las Vegas UFO.
I'd love to talk about that.
So I am not too well versed in it. I was kind of like, I don't know. Kind of like with me with the Miami Mall incident as well. I
don't know about that one.
I don't know. So,
okay, so this one pretty well.
No, I don't. But sorry, I'm just gonna do a quick little thing before we jump to that. Okay, so Numa, what are Nephilim? Nephilim are the offspring of fallen angels who mated with human women, and what they created was these kind of abomination giants, because they're giants. When you hear them talk about, and you go back into a lot of history, let's say the Greek pantheon. Are they really gods, or were they just fallen angels? And then how Zeus mated with mortal women, created like Hercules. Hercules would technically be considered a Nephilim. So I've got a bunch of videos coming up. L.A. Marzulli, I've released that one where he talks about it. But Matt, go ahead, take the reins here for you're going to talk about the Las Vegas one.
Yeah, so basically, and right, so I don't know if since it's just you and me, do you mind if you want to be closer for everybody?
Sure.
Or would you rather be farther?
No, I don't mind. Either way is fine.
Yeah,
you do it, man. You rock it.
So, basically the gist of the story is people notice, and there is actual police video from cameras in the windshield of it looked basically like a blue comet streaking through the sky, and multiple people have video of this, and it
Okay.
ended up crashing in these people's backyards. Well, what happened was they ended up calling the police and said something crashed in our backyards. And as they were on with the dispatcher, they said, "But that's not all. There's something else going on here." And they ended up telling them that there was a UFO that crashed, and there is a very large being or beings that crawled out of it. And they saw, I think it was two of them in the backyard. And they said they were like 9 to 10 feet tall, I believe. And the police, of course, the dispatcher was kind of like, okay, so what are you saying? And we were like, we know we sound crazy, but we have like some kind of creature or alien in our backyard. Please send somebody.
Yeah.
Fast forward, you have cops on the call. He has his camera rolling, and
Like
they
like
talk
like a
to
body cam?
people. Yeah, body cams rolling. They have actual body cam footage of Las Vegas police coming to their house. They're talking to them about it, and the one cop says, one of our other units has footage of that thing going over and crashing into your backyard. From afar, they saw it. And the one even commented, like, man, I don't want to go back there. I don't even want to deal with this. And so apparently they had them come back on another day, if I
Mhm.
remember the story right. But the police were afraid to go back there. They didn't want to go back, and I don't recall if they actually went back or left and made it. They seemed like on the recording that they left, and then I think the people had said that they disappeared, but also came back at another time. Other people had noticed these beings apparently too in the neighborhood's vicinity. So the Miami Mall one, I'm not too sure I'm buying that sucker. But
I kind of got sucked into one guy who was like, he took me for a loop. I got suckered in. I was like, he was talking about portals, and I was like, yeah. And then I started to and I was like, dude, you gotta contact me so I can talk to you. But no, no. But that's really interesting. So, what do you believe that the Las Vegas one is legit?
yeah, you know what? And like P. Gene said here, the video that was looked at by some video analysts and said it was not tampered with. I saw them say that as well.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and Ohio Dan, we will actually talk about that as well, since I know Beaver Creek. But
Yeah, I
I,
saw
I,
that.
I I actually do believe that there's something. I don't know if I believe everything 100%, but after what happened to me when I was 14, my mind is absolutely an open book of possibilities.
Mhm.
With the way that the police acted, they said another officer saw it actually going through the air when it was coming down. The other officer on the recording of the two officers there, one's chest mounted video camera records the other one saying, "Man, I don't want to go back there. I don't want to deal with this. I'm not." They just flat out say that they were nervous and scared. Um, and I don't know. There's quite a bit of believability to it, so I'm going to give this one, like, if I was going to give it school grades,
Yeah.
I would give it like a B in believability.
Okay. Okay. That's decent. That is decent. Okay. Interesting. I
About
know a lot of people.
Miami, the
What's that?
Miami though. We
You know what? The amount of police that were there, though, is okay. So here's my theory on the police. Why there are so many police? Um, who's the state? Who's the governor again?
of Florida.
Florida.
I'm not
DeSantis. Okay, so
okay.
there was rumors that there was like, oh, sorry, loud, some music going on here. So there was rumors that it was an active shooter, right? So I think there's been the ball has been dropped on previous active shooters, scenarios in the past. Okay. So I feel that like it was like everybody go, like it's go time. There's an active shooter.
And
We're
there was a
going.
lot of fighting going on and stuff
Yeah.
like that. It was crazy.
So my interpretation was there was an active shooter, and they kind of are under the impression that we're not going to let this happen like other active shooter incidents where we just kind of sit outside the school and let it kind of happen and then go in, kind of thing. It was like, no, go, stop it immediately, and get in there. So that is my thought on it. I know maybe it's not the most popular opinion, but that's
Right.
my
Well,
thought on it.
everybody wants it to be paranormal, you know, but I saw the one officer too on it, and he said they made whatever the call is. It basically is a citywide, all available officers come now.
Mm-hmm.
Drop what you're doing. You know, do people want it to be true that some teenagers had a little radio thing and turned it on and a portal opened and all that? Yes, I'm sure. I do find it interesting. Kelly, though, brings up a good point. There was a couple people who actually were pretty smart. One girl on TikTok
Mm-hmm.
did it, where she took the location and turn them around the what do they call them, the numbers and
The GPS
the
coordinates,
GPS
the
and
longitude and latitudes.
where the Miami Mall is,
Mm-hmm.
and completely flipped them around, and it brought them to some spot in Antarctica, which then put the mindset on, oh, if it's true, maybe they accidentally put the coordinates in backwards, and they popped out in the mall like, oh damn, why are we here? Which would be actually kind of funny. I'm calling no on that one though.
Well, okay. Just before you jump too far away on that one, though, Matt, I was talking with an ex FBI agent. Okay, he is like real life Mulder is the best way I can call it. Okay,
Okay.
and he explained the reversal of numbers has something to do with time travel. Okay, so
Oh.
so
Is
like
that
you're
the
in
guy that's on the shows who does shows now?
what? Sorry.
The FBI agent, is that the ex FBI agent who does like TV shows and that? What's his name again?
Well, this one was Walter Bosley. So Walter Bosley, and I interviewed him. It's my Disneyland Portals episode. He talks about that he had kind of a mentor, and he had talked to the mentor previously, talking about time travel, and the mentor said, "Oh, the American government or the American military discovered that over 100 years ago already,"
Mhm.
and it was further along years later. And he asked him, like, well, what is it? He's like, well, you're not ready to know that yet. And he talked to this individual years later when he said, I believe it has something to do with the inverse of your actual age. And that is representation of you going back in time to that age of yourself. And Walter actually believed that he himself has done that. He believed that because there was an incident when he was, we'll say 14 years old, or it could have been a little bit older, where he woke up and everything was different. And he was like, whoa, this is my hand. Like everything seemed different. It was like, and so his theory on it was that because he had cancer and he survived cancer, but his theory was he was dying of cancer and he was able to reverse his time, go back to that point where he was young again. And that's when he woke up and he was like, look at my hands, different things different with my hands, is because he's seeing his younger self. He looked in the mirror like, who is this person?
Oh
It's my younger
wow.
self. So really interesting, really interesting. So
Extremely.
possibly you never know if this inverse coordinates have something to do with it. I don't know.
Agreed.
Mhm.
Lee Chris, and we'll get back to you, Ohio Dan, here. This one's kind of holding on to what we're talking about.
Mhm.
Um, They claim that CERN can create portals and have discovered a particle from another dimension. I 100% have heard that exact thing. I've also heard that they've been opening portals for a while. I
Mhm.
heard the one story, Rye. I don't know if you heard it. Of course, it can't be substantiated for sure, of where some scientists actually have disappeared from from the one CERN site because they had opened a portal to all intents and purposes. They explained was like hell, and creatures and beings came out of it, grabbed some of the scientists, went back in, and they were able to close it. There's that one kid, I forget his name. He's like the smartest kid on the planet. Actually, was freaking out about the collider, saying that
Yes,
they
yes, yes, yes.
that
I heard, didn't he
caught us.
disappear?
You know what? I heard that too, that he did too. And he was freaking out about when we talked about the Mandela effect, that they actually brought two dimensions together, our Earth. That's why we have some people remembering XYZ and others remembering it at ABC. You know what I mean?
And I actually don't believe it's two. I believe there's more than two. I believe it was multiple are brought together, because some people have certain recollections of one thing. Like, let's say you have one Mandela effect that you remember, but there's another one you're like, no, that's not real. Okay, so that means that you're from planet A. Okay, there's the prime planet where everything is the way it's supposed to be, and then there's this one where you remember one thing here but not this thing, and then this one remembers both things here. So that means that they are two separate realities. And I believe that they're all brought into, and I think it's because, I personally believe, because Earths were instantly destroyed and our consciousness were all brought over. And we kind of, it's not like the bodies were brought over. I believe our consciousnesses merged and perhaps took over the existing body that is there.
Of another one of us. And I believe, yes, Numa, if anybody watches my channel and watches this town hall, I always talk about multiverse, and I am absolutely positively, I would bet my life that there are multiverses. There are parallel worlds that go like looking in a mirror and seeing a million of yourself just going on and on and on. And on each one of them, you are just, something is just a little different, a little twist, and you are just a little different, which would make kind of sense that if they did destroy those, we have to go somewhere, and that would be messed up, that, say the planet that was destroyed was Earth, B, and they came over to A and got rid of some of the what meant to be normal ones were. But you can also argue that if there's multiverses, no one of us are actually what really was meant to be. That's why there's so many different ones.
Yeah, and I have an interview with because I wanted to do a documentary on glitches in the Matrix, but I don't think that's going to happen. So I think I'm just going to drop that interview where the one lady, she totally believes that she jumped timelines and she took over the consciousness of another her and inhabited that other person, and that other, like, her body from the existing timeline died in the car accident. So really interesting. Yeah.
That is extremely.
Head Trip was talking about Einstein and his theories. Now, I'm under the understanding that Einstein is a fraud. It's something
I've been hearing that too.
He's copied a ton of people, and he would never ever openly debate anybody. So, either you feel so confident that you're like, why should I waste my time and debate them, or you're a fraud and you can't debate.
That'd be wild how much that they made him out to be like the end all be all, whatever, like E equals MC squared is absolutely nada. Doesn't mean anything. It's just junk.
Yeah.
How crazy would that be? And Pamela Stefanich, CERN is building another facility 3 times. I saw that the size of the current one again in Switzerland. These things, people, if you don't know what they are miles upon miles long, and it makes a big circle. And I mean, yeah, I saw that one on the news.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Now, like when you're talking about them opening a doorway, that leads us into the Montauk Project, which was on U.S. soil. Yeah,
Christopher Garritanos did a show on that.
exactly. So that's interesting. You know, there's a lot to say about that. Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm excited about all these interviews that I got. How about you, Matt? I know I'm kind of changing the subject here. Like, I'm excited about all the interviews that I got coming up with all these interesting folks.
Mhm.
I find, and I know our as our viewers and our listeners, you guys, I hope you enjoy the content we're bringing out as much as I'm sure you enjoy it too. Listening to experiencers or researchers talk about what has happened. Now with people who've had these experiences, I think as an interviewer, it's a fine line that we have to walk. Because, you know, we want to hear this experience, but I don't want to exploit the person because of their experience, because they're still here. Like yourself, Matt, you're still having this experience. This is still affecting you to this day, with
Oh
that
yeah.
dream that you had where it busted
Oh
through.
yeah.
And
Yeah, and Glade's Creature and Kelly are talking about dream states and remote viewing, and
Mhm.
so yeah, that is definitely something. Go ahead, keep going.
Yeah, no, it's like, I totally believe. And for those who don't know, Matt had I'm not sure if I'm stealing your thunder here, but Matt had a dream where the dog man, the beast, it broke through the window, did it not?
It would. I had actually a short one where it did come through the window one night and just ran towards me, and I woke up. That was not like the dream state that I had.
Hmm.
I had a one that seemed extremely real. 7.5 months ago, I was in my backyard by my fence. This is a shortened version. I was attacked. My prosthetic was ripped off. I was thrown on the ground. I felt the wind go out of me. I felt pain. Creature climbed up on top of me, and I mean, it was the same 100% the same creature. It was I was awake. It seemed like I was awake. It dripped saliva in the corner of my mouth. I even tasted it. I could smell like a farm animal scent, and it put its head.
Oh no.
The mouth did not use its mouth. It actually used. You hear people talk about mind speak, and
Hmm.
I heard basically it sounded like some out of a movie, like a synthesized but real deep, growly, monstrous sound. And it said, I came for you all that time ago. You speak of me too often, and I will see you soon. And I woke up soaking wet, and it freaked me out beyond belief. My dog was freaking out. And then I had another dream, which was not like that one, but it was real enough that I was scared. Basically, I was sitting in my chair at my house, and I was watching TV like I would be at late at night, and I noticed if you see right here, there's black here, and these are drapes. Behind that is the backyard with woods and everything, and I noticed the two eyes high up, though. I mean, high up, and I could see them glowing through it. And I sat up in my chair and bam, right through the glass, threw open the drape and roared at me and kind of started to come at me. And bam, I woke up. It
So,
was not like a dreamscape dream, but it was enough that I was affected by it. So, as to what you had said, I'm still being affected to this day by what happened. Hell yeah, man, in
well,
different
like,
ways.
but what I'm saying though is, like, okay, so that I believe was legit. I think it came to you and said, "Stop freaking talking
I
about
do
me,"
too.
because one thing, by talking about it, you're bringing awareness, okay? And by bringing awareness, you're bringing knowledge and wisdom about these things, that they're actually there. Because I think they work in the shadows. They work in fear, But the more knowledge is power, is what we say,
Hmm.
and the more power we have over them, the less they have over us. Now,
Agreed.
yeah. So, but what I'm saying is, it's a fine line where we walk as an interviewer, because I don't want to, like, and I don't want to say capitalize, but I don't want to, exploit people's experiences. I want to hear them. So, for these reasons, is I want to hear them because I think it's a mysterious. We're explorers. We're exploring things, that are left to be explored yet. We're also trying to figure out to solve these problems. And someone who's had these issues, they want answers. And if we can bring more of these stories, more people to come together, to come forward and talk about them, maybe we can bring some answers. Maybe we can bring some closure. Like Andy, that I was talking about earlier. That's what he's looking for. He's looking for help to try to figure out what this is. So it's really, imperative. And I'm not going to lie, I really like listening to these stories. I like listening to people tell me their stories, because that's how we used to pass on our history, was through stories. We were storytellers. That is what we were. That is our heritage. Yeah. And I think we're trying to continue that here in a different way. But we're just trying to bring light. And
I agree. And I'm honored and blessed that I am part of the sea. Whenever I start to talk about that thing, I legitimately start to sweat. I sweat. I have physical reactions that you can't fake sweating. I haven't sweat once tonight until that came up.
Jeez. Now, sorry, before we get to author, I'm just going to get Numa. I was going to ask, are we speaking this stuff more into existence, or knowledge is power? I think a little bit of both, actually. I do agree with you, Numa. Like, I believe we have the power to create with our minds, and I think that does happen, which is scary. But also having the knowledge about these creatures is like, if you know the names of the demons, you can cast them out. So it's that line as well. Now let's jump to author and illustrator BJ Lapierre.
I agree. Sorry, Rye. I just want to say I agree too. Yes, obviously, it's said straight out to me, and I've been reached out to since I've told people. Literally, hundreds of people have written to me in comments and emails on Messenger telling me, Matt, that was not a dream. That thing reached out to you. And yeah, so I agree with you, Rye. You're giving power to these things, or you're giving them up.
Imagine if you have another dream, okay, of this creature again. Command it to give you its name. See if you can do that, okay?
I will.
Just something interesting. But okay, let's jump to the one you just threw up there.
Author and illustrator BJ Lapierre. I had a dream about aliens kidnapping women, egg harvesting, and then using them for incubators for their hybrid embryos, and reseeding the earth with these hybrids to take over the world. I mean, just real quick, what I'll say about that is, how many shows have we seen lately, Ancient Aliens and other shows talking about that our planet, it's not happening, like starting to happen. It's been happening, where we've been being seeded, that there are hybrids everywhere around us on this planet for multiple reasons. And one of which, they talk about the original hybrid reason is that they can't procreate in different planets of certain races. They come to Earth, and that they're doing that so they can get the numbers back up for their populations, and then they hear more nefarious reasons as well.
Yeah, and like sorry, what was there? BJ Lapierre. This is so. Here's a question, BJ. I was in the dream and watching it all happen in front of me. Okay, that's what she says. Were you? I'm going to ask you this question, if you can answer this. Were you part of the being harvested? Like, were you providing the embryos, or were you assisting the aliens? Okay. And don't take offense to it, like either way, or were you just a third part, like a omniscient, third person view on it all? I'm interested in that. Now, there is a person, again, I'm going to talk about my interview. So I interviewed Karen Wilkinson, and she has a book called Stolen Seed, Evil Harvest. And she talks exactly about what you just wrote, BJ Lapierre. So she says exactly this, because this is her experience, was the embryos being harvested from her, stealing them, and they would incubate them within her. And then all of a sudden she wouldn't be pregnant anymore. She knows she was pregnant, and then she wasn't anymore. So this is this is happening. So I'm wondering, because she said that there was actually people there working alongside the aliens, and I'm wondering if possibly in our dream state that maybe, you know, we're subconsciously doing this as well. You know, like maybe you are, and again, I hope no one takes offense to this. Maybe you're like in a slave kind of situation where you're being forced to that. Okay, so no, I wasn't. I was just there viewing it all. I actually can't have children. It was like I was viewing it all happening before me. The women on tables stacked next to each other, filling a room. Wow. So
Very
I'm
detailed.
yeah, BJ, I'm gonna guarantee you that that you were there. You were, in my opinion, then you're remote viewing. You were remote viewing something that is actually happening.
And Glade's Creature has been talking about in the chat that she remote views as well.
Jeez.
So yeah, so it seems like more people are talking about having these dreamscape dreams and these or lucid dreams, whatever you want to call them. And you know, you hear a lot of people that are in the know as well, like people that are leaving government jobs or that have been involved with supernatural, paranormal, USOs, UAPs, that are coming out retired, talking about that there's a lot that's coming on, that's happening. Things are going to start happening quicker, and people are going to start finding out en masse that, you know, there are things out there that you know,
That we already know.
Yeah, we already know, but there's others out there that do listen to the governments and think that it's completely silly, and none of that stuff is real.
Well,
And no, the Earth is the only one with intelligent beings, which is absolutely ridiculous, mathematically impossible. But I don't want to get deep into that one. That gets me fired up.
yes. Yeah. And so, yeah, BJ LaPierre was saying the women were in like I'm assuming comatose status. They had no idea what was going on. Wow. Agreed. That's why we are all here. Info, help, and share. And of course, for Matt and guests. Yes. I agree. I agree. So author read The Uninvited. Lee Crisp, yeah, The Uninvited, and then also say, you know, Stolen Seed, Evil Harvest. Definitely. So Pamela, Pamela, can you put up Pamela's comment
Yeah,
there?
hold on one sec.
Yeah. So Pamela, that is my guest on Thursday.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah. So it's L.A. Marzulli was connecting me kind of to Karen Wilkinson, who connected to me to Vicky Joy Anderson. So yeah, that is a person who I'm having on. But of course, that interview will come out mid-June. That's what I was talking about. The person who was talking about, remember, Matt, I was saying how someone was actually like, you're accessing your pineal gland and kind of like making you project things. That is what it is, which would be, what do they call them? Curtain memories, I think is what, or screen memories is what it is. Do you ever wonder if you ever have any screen memories? Like I've had some crazy experiences in my dreams of me being abducted. And now all this talk, and I'm like, maybe it wasn't a dream. Maybe this really did happen. I don't know, because they're so in depth when they're like doing operations on me, like removing parts in my forehead here, you know, like putting something into my forehead, and another thing. And I remember sitting in, you know, rooms waiting, like metal steel rooms waiting with other people. Really, really strange. So really interesting.
See
What do we
here,
got here?
Kelly. No mouth or nose could be seen, and it stood in front of the car, and we were standing next to motioning hi and come here with its hand. What are we talking about?
It's a message earlier. She was saying, well, I seen near Snoqualmie River. Don't know if it was a Bigfoot, but it did have large yellow eyes.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, yellow eyes definitely falls a lot into the dog man.
Lee Crisp's. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
One of the greatest They Live movies of all time.
And again, I'm like still like talking about all my stuff. Sorry about this, Matt. But the interview that I'm releasing Thursday literally is about a guy who wears sunglasses and able to see stuff. He had polarized lenses on the sunglasses, and he saw a portal open up, and then something flew out of the portal, like a like a lava lamp type kind of UFO, like this orange ball thing. And it wasn't him that saw it. He gave it to his friends. He gave the sunglasses to his friends who saw it, and he gave it to his stepdaughter who saw this as well. So that's on Thursday.
Wow, that's awesome. That, I
Yeah.
mean, that, they talk a lot, and we mention this a lot. I mention it a lot. There's a lot of discussion about that the powers that be actually utilizes Hollywood at time to give us snippets of information of things that are real.
Mm-hmm.
And They Live came out, and I think it was the late '80s. And I mean, it really gets your mind pumping to think that, and they always talk about they're here, that they're actually not coming, that they've been here and they're here.
Yeah.
You hear if you go back, and I've discussed it numerous times, and I had it on the actual video of Ronald Reagan talking to the United Nations about saying, wouldn't it be something if we had a attack from another what was it, another planet or beings from another part of the universe, and then they attacked the Earth, how fast all of our differences would disappear and that Earth would come together. But I have to say, and I'm not saying it word for word, but he basically said, but dare I say, aren't they already here? Which
Yeah,
is
of course.
true.
They're leaving those ones. They're like dropping those little breadcrumbs for us always. They
It's huge.
always are.
For
Yeah.
him to say that was just like boom. Like, oh my God, and they swept it under the rug. That was like just such a gigantic bomb dropped. And everyone was kind of just like, huh?
And
What?
and They Live, man, had one of the greatest fight scenes ever. I think it was like a
Oh,
5 minute long fight. That
I think
was
it's number one on tons of picks, for sure.
yeah.
For sure.
It had some terrible cheesy lines. I came here to chew bubble gum and kick some ass, and I'm all out
Yeah,
of
yeah.
bubble gum. And I'm like, oh my God. But it
Yeah,
really had such a strong message.
was
I'm
great.
I'm surprised it hasn't been redone. Well, maybe it hasn't been redone because it hit so close to home.
Yeah.
Yeah, head trip, exactly. Roddy Piper stated the movie They Live was actually a documentary before he passed. I've heard that too. I did hear that. I didn't say that, but I did hear that.
I did too. I
Mhm.
did. And you know what? I promised I'd go back. Ohio Dan had commented about
Yes.
I'd seen a UFO at Beaver Creek State Park, which, if anybody has seen my Beaver Creek State Park or hear me talk about it, it's 40 minutes from where I live in the Youngstown, Ohio area. It is in Columbiana County. In fact, Beaver Creek State Park is in that Columbiana County area where the Columbiana or County or Ohio Howl, the famous Ohio Bigfoot howl that they play all the time. It's one of the
Mhm.
most famous ones there is in the world. It was made at Beaver Creek in Columbiana County, Ohio. So, my second video on Planet 412, you wouldn't believe what happened at Beaver Creek. I had crazy experience there.
You did?
Positive. I got a EVP of a Sasquatch. Ron Moorhead put his stamp of approval on it. And some weird stuff happened.
I guess someone could deny it was a Sasquatch. Like some people are like, well, it might not be a Sasquatch, but you know what? Nonetheless, it was something that grunted, and you were told that there was
Wasn't me.
Sasquatches there. Yeah, it
I
was.
mean, you could tell it wasn't me.
Mhm, mhm.
So in fact, I'd be happy to play it again. But a lot of I've found out
Well,
in the
search for it.
meantime,
I think so.
um, a lot of people have, like Dr. Russ Jones has a show on the Untold Radio Network that with his partner Brad, who they have studied Bigfoot in Beaver Creek State Park for years. They've been bluff charged, have huge rock thrown at them by the lake, where they heard it go all the way to the bottom of the lake and make a clunk in the bottom. His partner played on. I got interviewed by them twice, once for the Dog Man and then second for Beaver Creek and other stuff. And his partner actually played about 1.5 to 2 minutes of a 45-minute video that they recorded at Beaver Creek State Park that is eerily similar to the Sierra sounds made by Ron Moorhead.
So do you have it handy? Your recording?
Yeah.
Kelly, I think it was Kelly was asking. She's like, "Let's hear it." Yeah. Kelly was saying, "Play it." So while you're finding it, what else do we got? Oh, so Head Trip is considering wanting to be interviewed by either yourself, Matt, or me. And I said, by all means, whoever you want. There's no egos here at all. So, if you choose Matt, I'm not going to be upset. If you choose me, Matt's going to be like, sure,
we're happy for sure.
We support each other. So Head Trip, whoever you want to contact, by all means, if you contact us on Facebook, might be the easiest thing. Not to. Yeah, or email as well. Not
I'm not great with I actually have been getting yelled at by multiple people that hey, Ernie Davio, Ernie just popped.
Hey, Ernie.
That I need to and Masochist Mouse let me know. She sent me some stuff. I'm gonna get to it, guys. I have had so much email.
You mean email? Oh, emails. Oh,
my email. I'm behind. I need to get on it. And thank you, Head Trip. I appreciate that.
Or like Mouse says, one up both.
That's a good idea.
Yeah,
we could do that.
It could be something like this and bring you on, Head Trip. It doesn't matter. In all honesty, it doesn't matter. We could do a Tuesday coming up. So I'm going to bring this up. So things have been getting extremely busy. A lot of scheduling issues. So these town hall sessions are going to grind to a much slower pace. I think we're still going to go with one. We're going to do one a month, and I think Matt is going to, have lives on Tuesdays. I'm looking forward to. What's that? Sorry.
I'm going to replace. So to let everybody know, every second Tuesday of the month, the Supernatural Townhall Session will be on that second Tuesday. So once a month. But every other Tuesday for the other 3 Tuesdays, you can still come here. I'm going to have a live stream on Planet 412 because I stopped my live stream on Saturday because I have a new exciting format coming to Saturday. But Rye and I were talking about going to, doing some of these live streams together with Head Trip. And, we could do something like that.
Yeah, for sure.
If you want to finish up there, Rye.
No, yeah, I would say, maybe every other Tuesday I might step in here with Matt, and we're not going to say hold each other down to no, you got to come on every first this one, but okay, so every second Tuesday we're going to do the Supernatural Town Hall, and then the other 3 Matt's going to rock and roll, and I'm going to try joining him when I can. I was telling Matt, I have so many interviews coming up that I don't know what to do. It's I need to open up another day. I used to record on Tuesdays as well, but if we're doing these, I couldn't. So I need to open up another day because I made the mistake, and it's not really a mistake, but I kind of did a call out on Reddit, and for me, it blew up. I've gotten so many responses and so many amazing different stories that I'm looking forward to it. But I just need to fit them in, and they're going to be shorter format, which I think is going to be good. I was telling Matt about that. I'm going to be doing shorter format, maybe 20-minute interviews, and I'm just going to be uploading them to YouTube.
Yeah, and like I just said before, so it's not going, guys. The live stream's not going anywhere. I know you enjoy seeing all of us. We will do it once a month as a group. Ryan and I, for sure, one out of those 3 other live streams, Planet 412 will be having. It'll be me and Rye. The other ones, I'll have other people. It's gonna be fun. We're gonna do some new stuff. We're gonna have a lot of content on Codega's Codex of Curiosities on Planet 412. We are going to be having a lot of great content, and we've just been a little inundated, and we need to get caught up. But again, this live stream is just not going anywhere. It's going to be a little different, which is good.
Yeah, no, for sure.
That audio, if you guys would like me to play
Yes,
that.
yes. Okay, I will shut up now. Let's do this. And have it on repeat. See if you can put it on repeat.
Let me shut off the I'm shutting off the live stream because I had the cast going. Let me see if I can repeat it.
And if you can't, just hit play again, of course. I think that's the easiest thing to do.
So this is the recording, an EVP that I made in Beaver Creek State Park. And actually, Antonio, real quick, to let you know, yes, I will be doing that. My wife, Stacy, actually said she wants to get video of me down in the area where I had my dogman attack. My leg is almost healed. When it's completely healed and I can use my prosthetic again, I will be up. And as soon as I'm getting up, I'm going to go down to that area and I will be getting video and a tour of that space where I got it. And I just got a drone with a good camera on it. So we'll have some good spots. So definitely, that's funny you bring it up. This is the EVP made at Beaver Creek State Park that you could see on my second video. You won't believe what happened at Beaver Creek. Let me start over. Is there anyone out here with me? Thank you for allowing me to be in your home, in your woods. You want to say anything to tell me you're here? What's your name? Is there anyone here and how many of you are there? Now, before I play the grunts again, I just want everybody to know I did not hear any of that with my own ears, which when I played it back and heard the grunts and the two sets of four wood knocks, which were basically answers to my questions, I was absolutely floored and blown away. So I'll play it one more time so you can hear the grunt.
Just 1 second. Yeah, so I'm just gonna do something here. So at the beginning, when he says, you'll hear it go, ugh. And then if you listen carefully, you'll hear wood knocks as well. So let's rock and roll with his. I say play it twice. Play it twice through.
Okay.
Technical difficulties.
I had to rewind it. Is there anyone out here with me? Thank you for allowing me to be in your home, in your woods. You want to say anything to tell me you're here? What's your name? Is there anyone here and how many of you are there?
One more time. One more time. Rewind.
Anyone out here with me? Thank you for allowing me to be in your home, in your woods. You want to say anything to tell me you're here? What's your name? Is there anyone here and how many of you are there? I mean, it speaks for itself. That's not my voice. I'm obviously not going. Ugh. It sounds nothing
you totally
like.
Were. You totally were, Matt. That was you.
So it really blew my mind. And I immediately stood up, and I had my knee replaced, and I had my prosthetic on, and I had crutches, and I just stood up without them, and I just said out loud, "Oh my God, thank you so much. Thank you for that gift." You know, they talk about people that have experiences or who want people that want to have a positive experience what can you do? And what I did was I took the positive approach. As I got up to this area where I was told by a psychic named Johnny Freeman that there was a rock formation at the top of this trail, which took me a while to get there,
Well,
that it was
yeah.
supposedly, but even if you didn't
Sorry,
have
Matt.
one
Did you
from,
have a prosthetic at that time, or were you just
I
like,
did.
okay,
I
and
had
you had crutches?
had the left knee. The left knee had just been replaced a month before that, and I was wearing a prosthetic. So I had crutches. It took me about 30 minutes to get up there. I would say 25, let's say. And I
Oh,
had to stop
what? One
along
quick
the
second
way.
here. One quick second. Antonio, it was the dog man. It ate it. No.
What happened was I had it's called Charcot syndrome. It's spelled Charcot. I have advanced lupus, which is an autoimmune disease, and what Charcot syndrome is I've had multiple. I've had 30 surgeries lifetime. The What happened is, if you've ever heard of neuropathy, it's like you get numbing of the feet and the legs that grow worse over time. So I was hit from behind in a really bad car accident when I was a teenager. A guy was going 70 miles per hour and hit me and my brother and cousin. He was drunk. We were actually going to the Cleveland Clinic to visit my cousin's dad who had open heart surgery. We were on Carnegie Avenue, for those of you that know Cleveland. And boom, we were stopped 70 miles per hour, drunk, blasted us. I was in the back seat, messed my back up. I have severe damage, caused neuropathy in my leg, which caused the Charcot syndrome. What it is you have three parts of your foot and ankle joints that what happens is they basically dislocate, and you have to have it surgically repaired. Well, because I have advanced lupus, it fights healing. That's why I've been having trouble just closing wounds and stuff too. Well, the first surgery ended up failing. He did a second surgery, a much more robust one. They put like a titanium rod and more plates and screws, and basically the bones started breaking down from the lupus. It just said, nope, I'm not dealing with this, and we can't handle healing, and it wouldn't heal. So my surgeon unfortunately had to take my right leg below the knee. And I've had a lot of other issues that have happened over the years, and just of late I've had some. So it's been a constant fight. But I'm almost to the point where I'll be wearing it again soon. I'm almost healed up, thank God. But yeah, I went up to the top of that place. There was a portal, like a rock formation I could see. They told me it was a portal that's frequented by Sasquatch and other beings. And like I said, Russ Jones and his partner got all this footage or this recording of them doing sounds and the whoops and everything. It's a very well known. Google it. Beaver Creek State Park. I think it's East Liverpool or East Liverpool, Ohio, Columbiana County. And like I said, the Ohio Howl, one of the most famous Bigfoot howls in history, was made there, recorded. And you go there and you look online, just what comes up from Google, and you will see the countless different things that it's known for. Tons of ghosts and supernatural things, Sasquatch and other cryptids. Supposedly, someone saw dogmen there before. But it's a very active spot, and I had a very positive and wild experience because the very next day I went back again, and Ernie Davio, who's in the chat, is somebody who can attest to me being there because I went to meet Ernie Davio and his wife Lois and their dog. Uh, uh, oh my God, I went blank. I'll remember. Oh, Ernie, I forgot your dog's name. I'm thinking of Hadley right now. Um, Tilly. Tilly is his dog. And Ernie was speaking at this Bigfoot event the next day, and I went there to have dinner with them, and they asked me, would you like to come back to where all the people in the conference are staying at uh, a site, and we went back to this campsite, and it was really hard to find in the middle of nowhere, and it was the one they picked because it had all kinds of crazy stuff. And Numa, I hope so. I'm still here, so it hopefully is. And Ernie knows about um, Johnny Freeman coming up to me. He knows about me going up the hill by myself. In fact, I leaned on a tree that was dying at one point. I didn't know it was dying, and it literally fell over. And it was so loud. It was like something out of the Sasquatch like documentaries when they say they're knocking. It sounded like someone knocked a tree over. They thought I fell down the hill. And they're like, Matt, are you okay? I'm like, I'm all right.
Like, here comes Matt.
Yeah, because there was a 200-foot drop at the top that would have fell right to this river stream.
Yeah, no, thank you.
So I don't know if thank you, Antonio. It is painful. It sucks. But if Ernie, if you're here, man, just say yes. You know, give me a little.
He might have. He might not be, but I know he was earlier. That's crazy. That's an incredible story, you know. So, you know, anybody who's watching on my channel, make sure you go check out Planet 412, you know, and check out Matt. You know, his first two videos are fantastic. His first one is his coup de grace. I don't know. It's his Dogman story, you know, and I hate calling it a Dogman because it's so underscored, I don't know, underrated almost, because this creature was huge. You know, this is a beast.
Yeah.
And then your second one is the Beaver Creek one, which is great as well.
Thank you. And the same goes for Rye stuff. You know, please go over to Codega's Codex of Curiosities and subscribe. And Rye is putting out absolutely incredible, impeccable videos. And he is growing exponentially, and he's growing.
So are you, Matt? So are you. I hate this. The camera's always reversed, and I go to like point this way, which I meant like on my screen would be where you are, but it's like no, this way. Yes, but yeah.
Favor, if you guys are subscribed to me, please go over and subscribe to Rye, and vice versa. We could use you guys, and if you haven't gone and liked this video, please as well do that. I also real quick want to say hi. I don't want to ignore our pilled.com and our pilled.net and rumble.com people that are listening. I'm going to get it all figured out soon, guys, how I can have your chats into. But thank you to you. And my microphone's finally, everybody, it's coming Thursday. I'll have some equipment, brand new equipment, so I won't sound like crap anymore. And I will hopefully have a new computer in the next week.
And then of course, and of course, you know, we don't want to forget. There's Ernie. Yeah, and of course, we don't want to forget JC from the Sasquatchers as well. You know, if you guys haven't checked out him and Andrew's channel, by all means, please go check them out as well. They're some great guys, you know, and that's it. I think we're coming to a bit of an end. I think we're coming to a bit of a close. I know this is I normally don't go this long, but here we are.
It's you know, and like we said, guys, you know, we don't want anyone to think that, you know, this is the end of anything, and it's definitely not. As I said before, every Tuesday now, the townhall session will be second Tuesday of every month. It'll be once a month. Mm-hmm. The other 3 days of the other 3 Tuesdays of the month, those 3 extra weeks, Planet 412 will be on same time, 8:30. Rye out of one of those 3 weeks will be on with me. I'm going to have some different stuff, different people on all the time. So just please keep on coming and heading on over. And, you know, we appreciate your support as always. And you know, we love you guys. We really appreciate you. And we love doing this. So
I do too. I do too. Yeah. I don't want to get burnt out. I know someone said don't get burnt out, and it's kind of like I feel like I'm gonna get burnt out if I don't, scale back on a couple of things so I can push forward on other things. I do want to do more lives though. I do want to do like some of my own lives as well. But that'll come. I need to clear up all these shorter interviews that I just got, like these crazy, amazing, amazing ones. But yeah, it's I'm looking forward to those ones, and I'm looking forward to working with Matt further in the future, and I'm looking forward to the Supernatural Town Halls and everyone. So I just want to say thank you to everybody. Rita, thanks a lot for checking us out. I know you're a new viewer there as well, so we want to say thank you for that. And that's the thing. Like Rita brought up a point. She's like, I love this. She's like really interested in this because I'm tired of all channels fighting other channels and all this drama. And that's one thing we don't want. Even if we have drama, you're not going to know about it, because that's not what this is for. That is not what this platform's for. So that's all I will say. And
no, it is not.
Yeah, I enjoy everybody, and Matt and I are, each of us are putting out our own content, and Matt's got something new brewing up. He hasn't really even told me all too much yet. So I'm looking forward to that. That'll be on Saturdays. I believe he said you're going to drop those on Saturdays.
It is. I'm going to try very hard to. I don't really know if I can get it out this Saturday, but what's going to happen is the people. Oh, and I'm shouting out my members. Hello to all my members. And hello to my restream. I have one restream. We just started, I think, a week ago. Pamela Stefanich is my first restream. I'm trying to direct people to join restream. You're all going to be getting content that no one else will be seeing. So if you want to see some members only videos, members only news, I am actually going to be releasing what that special Saturday event that will be an every week, every Saturday, like clockwork event. And what it'll be is it's not a live stream, but it's going to be an amazing event that will have a live chat. And I have no doubt you guys are going to go nuts over it. Anybody that's a member or in my oh my God, blank Rye, help me here.
Patreon?
In my Patreon, thank you. I got so much going. If you're in those, I'm gonna announce to you guys tomorrow what that is gonna be about. So if you guys want to know what it is, join Patreon. Join the member. And a lot of good stuff coming, guys. And Ryan, I actually have some plans in the future to collaborate on something even down the road that is got the potential to be something absolutely lights out. So great things coming, and I'm just so pumped. You don't understand, Rye. I've been waiting for new equipment.
I know.
Long, and
I just got a comment, Matt. Like, I think it's your mic. It keeps, and I don't know if it's my connection, but I think your mic keeps breaking up. It's kind of like every now and then it's like kind of thing, and nope. I don't know if that's your mic. It could be, but it's not enough that it was. It's not enough that it was annoying or anything. But just letting you know.
The only mic I have, just to let everybody know, is the mic that goes through either the computer or I have a 4K computer camera. That is the only mic that you guys hear me from. So that's why I get so many. Hey, Matt, you might want to get a new microphone. Well, really? I kind of even really don't have a real microphone. Yeah. Well, a really good, top of the line, beautiful one is coming. And that's because I had some of my wonderful subscribers. People donated some to me over the last couple of months, and I got enough to get a new microphone and an arm. So you will see that next week. So
cool. Awesome. And shout out to Cryptids, Creeps, and Conspiracy for joining us. You're joining us just at the last minute as we're signing off. And yeah, so BJ Lapiero is also saying that she does hear the mic issues as well. So, so if anybody wants to donate before the end of the thing, donate, send it to Matt so he can get some new equipment, because
you need a new computer.
Is it shit?
Yeah, this one is literal shit. It really is. I'm lucky I'm on the air, and I could really use some help. So
yeah, the mic just went. It kind of goes like when you're talking. It kind of does this weird vibrating kind of thing. But that's great though. Don't worry about it. You're getting your new mic. We're good to go. So with that, I got to check out here right away. I got to take the dog for a walk. So I want to thank everybody in the chats, in my channel and in Matt's channel, for joining us. This isn't the end. This is the beginning.
Nope. Absolutely. Thanks, Rye. And guys, since we're shutting off here, Rye, thanks for bringing that up to donate. If you really do want to help out, donate. I have a computer fund. It is going to be one that will help the channel become 10 times what it is. You can go to the description of Planet 412, and there are descriptions of how you can donate to the channel. Thank you, everybody. We love you guys very much. Thanks for supporting us, everybody. See you later.
Thanks so much for tuning in. Don't forget to like and subscribe, as it greatly helps out the channel. I'll see you next time on Planet 412.